Hi, everyone. Welcome to Meet the Mailers. I'm Paul Bobnak for Who's Mailing What, a direct mail 2.0 company. And today I'm talking with Katrina Shaw. She is the founder and CEO of Snowball Print Marketing in San Luis Obispo, California. And before we get started, we welcome questions and comments in the box below. You can show your support for today's episode by tapping the like button and click on subscribe to get notified when we add new videos to the Who's Mailing What channel. Now, let's meet today's guest. Welcome, Katrina. Good to see you.
Hi, Paul. Great to see you too.
Well, thanks for being here today. And let's get started by talking about your background. How did you get started with your career?
Well, it might surprise you to hear my accent and know that I'm not from around these parts, but I actually started my print career in London. 18, I started working for an envelope manufacturer. I started working as an admin. I was, at the time sending faxes and doing the filing and making cups of tea. But I worked my way up, started as an estimator, then moved into a CSR role and then into a sales role. And then shortly after that, I left there and went to work for a big full service letter shop. Did that for a long time. Then I was in sales there. And then I worked for a couple of big financial printing companies. And then the role that I think was really the making of me was working for a big print management company in London. And that's the role that brought me here to the US. I came out here to work with one of those big clients and stand up direct mail programs globally for them. But I think that's really what prepared me for Snowball. Just doing all the jobs on the way up, having that deep connection to print process, but also how to build effective teams, how to solve problems. That's really been the key.
Mm-hmm. And that gave you the experience for all the different aspects of running a printing and marketing company.
Yeah.
Right. So what was the why behind founding Snowball? And what have been some of the challenges that you've faced along the way?
Yeah. So I smashed pretty hard into the glass ceiling at my last big corporate role.
Okay.
The only place to go really for me was more of the same. I'd stopped learning, and I knew that if I was going to continue to grow, I probably was going to need to create the opportunity for myself. And people were like, "You're crazy, you're going to go and start a direct mail company in Silicon Valley, and is there even any call for that stuff out there? Isn't it all tech,
Right.
And believe it or not, tech companies are huge users of direct mail, especially because they're mostly selling products to other small businesses, small and medium-sized businesses. And the best way to talk to small and medium-sized businesses is direct mail.
Yes.
But it was a huge learning curve, huge. I didn't even know what I didn't know when I started. But I think one of the biggest challenges starting the business was getting the trust from our roster of vendors, but also just sales. That's a huge challenge. And then after that, infrastructure, and thinking the right way to build out processes and within the business was a challenge. But, those are good problems to have if you can find the work,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. So talk about your job today. What is your job involve in all the different aspects?
So I'm CEO. That means, I'm mostly in charge of sales. That's the way I like to talk about it. Now that the business is more established and we have a middle management layer, for a long time I was very hands-on. It was pretty hard to shoehorn me out of being hands-on with projects because I love clients, I love that interaction, and I love the print project stuff. But I got shoehorned out of that about 4 years ago, finally, and really have been focused on sales. And that process sort of started with a big brand refresh that we did recently. Just in October, we launched our new brand. So that was really exciting. But I really felt like I wanted the new brand to represent the quality of the service we provide, but also the world-class team that we've got.
Right.
And the quality of the work that we're doing. So I think that's a big point, that when people go looking, they would see us and feel like, oh, these guys know what they're talking about when it comes to direct mail.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. Well, related to that, what are your company values or your mission, and how do you incorporate that into your daily life and culture? Because I can see by looking at the website, it is really infused with that.
Well, thank you for noticing that. A lot of hard work went into
Welcome.
that. Shout out to our creative team, who are absolutely amazing. But our vision at Snowball, we have a vision statement, which I think is, if I can remember it, to be the most trusted solution in direct marketing and set the standard for innovation in the industry. So those are big shoes to fill right there.
Yeah, very lofty.
But I think, part of that is about operating with integrity. So, we have 6 core values at Snowball. The top one for me is integrity and humility, and so in our approach with clients, it's about operating in a transparent way, but also being humble enough to come into clients and say, you might not want everything that we provide, but you might want some of the things that we can provide. But I think that's the humble place, that coming to that approach of being solutions-based service provider to our clients. So, and then I think another one of our values is amplification, but this really speaks about spreading the sorts of practice and the approach that we have. But I really would hope that if you asked any of our clients, they would say Snowball are transparent, and they are humble, and they work really hard. But, I think those things come through really strongly in the relationships that we've built.
Right. And that's what you like to hear that too.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. And, I could get on my soapbox about my amazing team. They really are incredible.
Yeah, awesome. Well, let's just jump into it and talk a little bit more broadly about Snowball and your services. Can you just give like an overview of all the different things that you do there?
Yeah. So we're a full service strategic direct marketing agency, soup to nuts, so that means we start with strategy, we license data through our key partner, we provide creative, we do print management, we execute the print campaigns, and then we also provide some reporting and analytics services on the back end. And like I was mentioning, we really allow our clients to pick a mix, because a lot of clients, especially the big tech companies, they have in-house creative teams, so they don't always want creative support. But we provide support with like templates and format ideas, and we take that really consultative approach. But it allows them to plug us in where they need us most, and not where they don't.
Right.
That flexibility, I think, is key.
Right. Yeah, that certainly makes sense to operate based on what your clients' needs are. And sometimes it's a lot, and sometimes it's a little, but it's something you can do.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, we all know that to be more successful, direct mail really works better when it operates alongside other channels. And I know you have this new dashboard product. In what way, are all these digital channels that are available now to marketers being incorporated into your direct mail strategies?
Yeah, so this is like one of my favorite topics, Paul, because I really think direct mail is the most exciting area of print. And great. And I think that because it's where offline and online meet. There's no other place where the physical world and the digital world really intersect. And I think that is direct mail. It's where that gap is bridged. But I think the biggest question that we're going to have to figure out in our industry is attribution. Like, how do we prove DM's impact? And that's hard in a digital world, because people are seeing digital ads all the time. So there's always this question of, well, was it really the direct mail that had the impact? And so harnessing tools like informed delivery, personalized QR codes. One thing we're doing at Snowball too is offline retargeting. I don't know if you've heard of the Navistone product, but
absolutely, yeah.
It's awesome. It basically means that people that visit your website will get sent a postcard, but again, it's like drawing those digital interactions together and then bringing a physical, marketing message with it. I think there's real power in that. And then with our dashboard, we're providing some campaign metrics to report on the interactivity around the QR codes, the informed delivery, and we've got some secret sauce in our approach, but suffice to say, the metrics we're reporting on are aimed to prove that interaction with the mail. And also help our clients who are really focused on driving in quarter revenue understand when they should have that direct mail campaign in home in order to maximize and optimize on the revenue it drives. So, these are key things that marketers are interested in. And if we can put that picture together for them and we can say, well, here in a digital dashboard is the impact of your campaign. I think this is where the power is, and this is what is going to keep customers buying direct mail,
Right.
So I think that's a really, really important place that we're working right now in direct mail in order to prove that attribution.
Right. Yeah, it's basically the same kind of concept, that you have your customers, or you're a company who is doing direct mail. Their customers are already in all these different digital channels. So if you work in conjunction with those channels, you can market to them, and your message or your offer goes across those different channels and amplifies each other. Like you said, amplification.
And one of my big pet peeves, Paul, is the SMS marketing. This for me, I feel this is such an interruption to your life, the SMS, because, if you're getting a text message, you're assuming it's from someone in your close network, typically.
Right.
So it does draw your attention, but I feel it does interrupt. And obviously we've just been through a big political cycle, and those political strategists were using a lot of SMS messaging. And, I was very fatigued with it, I can tell you. And I know friends and family who I spoke to were the same, like, oh my God, I'm getting so many text messages. But I think the beauty of direct mail is that the person who's receiving the direct mail has, is on their own time. They've chosen to go to the mailbox or look at their mail. So they've chosen to do that at the time. You're not interrupting them.
Right.
They've chosen, but because they've chosen to look at it at that time, they're going to be more receptive to those messages. So that's where I think, direct mail has also got one up.
Right. Well, it's interruptive in the right ways, because you can choose when you want to, consider it further. Some people will go through everything right away and immediately start sorting things into look at it now, look at it later, or throw it into the recycling bin.
Right.
And other people just sort of like shove it off in a corner and don't look at it for a week. But if you have that physical presence, it is definitely more interruptive than something on, your device where it's just a tap and it's gone, and you'll never think of going back to it.
And the personalized QR codes are proving more and more how long mail is staying in the home and in the office. We're seeing people scanning those QR codes 20 to 30 days after the campaign arrived.
Is that right? Wow.
It really is sticking in there, and these are the sort of eyeballs that email marketing would dream to get on their messages,
And that's a good point too. That's a good tip, to make sure that when you're setting all that up, that everything is active for a good 60 to 90 days.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I want to move the focus to something else interesting about Snowball, your business practices, which set you apart from some of the other companies in the marketplace. We'll start with how the company is responding to environmental pressures. What clients and their customers want, and moving towards greater sustainability.
Yeah. So we have a sustainable business practice at Snowball. We're partnered with Print Relief to plant trees to offset carbon. But our model really is designed to minimize a carbon footprint because we have 45 printers on our roster globally, so we can target the production points of those campaigns close to the geographical areas where it's going to drop and minimize that carbon footprint. We prioritize working with SGP accredited printers specifically, and we like those because they have more DEI focus as well. You know, they have to be paying women and men equally, etc. So we like that alongside of the environmental points that they have to hit. But I'm going to say something controversial here about sustainability, which is that I really wish we were responding to more pressures around sustainability. I really wish it was harder than it currently is. I think a lot of large companies are ticking boxes when it comes to DEI and sustainability, and that's disappointing and sad. But the fact is, being more sustainable for any business at any level requires significant investment. And until that point that we can make the sustainable choices, the cost of making those sustainable choices in line with the cost of making the non-sustainable choice, I think the bottom line is often going to win. So I think that's the real challenge in our industry specifically. How do we get more printers making higher content post-consumer waste stock? Pre-pandemic, you know, we could get a 30% FSC, we could get PCW, we could get 100% SOW, PCW. Those are harder and harder to find. You know, it's hard to find a 10% PCW at the moment, and this is because during the pandemic, a lot of mills switched from making paper for direct mail and making those environmental stocks to making board and packaging because of the explosion of DTC. Right. So, you know, companies obviously like New Leaf, Mohawk, you know, they still are producing, you know, high content PCW stocks, but those need to be more readily available, and the price for those stocks needs to be in line with, you know, the cheaper virgin stocks out there. So those are my thoughts really on like sustainability. We need to help our clients be able to afford it, you know, and although that's sad, I think that's the hard truth, but that's the challenge.
Yeah, well, and I think too that as part of that the more companies that do engage in more robust sustainable practices will kind of like set the stage and the leadership for other companies to follow, and then it will become something that's more economically affordable and efficient to do so. Right.
Yeah.
So, you know, another exciting thing to talk about, what sets Snowball apart is your commitment to creating opportunities for women in mail and print. Can you talk about some of the initiatives that are underway?
Yeah. So my own experience has been central to that tenet, really. You know, growing up in print, I started my first job in print when I was 18. You know, it's a pretty male-dominated industry. And, you know, I struggled to have female mentors for sure. You know, there weren't many women more senior than me who, you know, for me to look up to when I was coming up in print. There were plenty of great male role models for me, you know, and I definitely credit, you know, several strong men, allies that helped me, supported me, and educated me. But, you know, to see a woman doing something herself, that's really what creates that vision in younger women that they can do the same thing. But I think there's really a distinct lack of women in strategic leadership positions. And, you know, traditionally those roles have been filled by men. So Snowball has an all-female team, which is, I think, pretty unique in our industry.
I think so.
We have our WeBank Women-Owned Business Cert. We've had that since 2020. We're also huge supporters of the GRC program at Cal Poly University, and we've employed several young women who have come out of that program. We currently have 5 Cal Poly alum on the team.
Wow, that's great.
We also support Girls Who Print. I don't know if I'm sure you know Deborah Korn. She's really prolific.
Yeah.
And then internally, inside, I think our own practices around the mentorship that we're providing for the women that are coming through our business is really to identify what their goals are, you know, what heights are they trying to reach, and what are the pieces in the puzzle that are going to enable them to get there, you know. And in our business, often it's like, well, do you want to be more client focused? Do you want to be more operations focused? Do you want to be creative focused? Do you want to be technical focused? But figuring that out and then just putting in a roadmap for these women. And, you know, women tend to need more, you know, reassurance than men. One thing I read in Sheryl Sandberg's book, Clean In, was when looking at a job description, if a woman can't do 95% of the things that are on the job description, she won't apply for the job. Whereas men are much more confident to apply. And I think we really need to take a leaf out of men's book and have that confidence in ourselves and our abilities. But as women, we need to build that confidence in really practical ways. And so it's only through the process of doing it, achieving it, and getting the credit for doing it, which is really important, that builds that confidence. So those are the sorts of practices that I'm driving through the leadership roles in our company, and helping and supporting these women to, you know, do whatever that is that they want to do in print, you know.
Right.
So that's really exciting, and that's something that's really close to my heart.
Yeah, that's really wonderful. I mean, it's one of those things where the industry has an issue with the aging out of the workforce, right? And to me, it's a no-brainer that supporting programs like this brings new viewpoints and new people into the process of print and mail, and preparing them for careers and really making something of it. And it's again, something very needed, and I'm glad to see that.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Yep. So what kinds of trends, you know, given all the direct mail work you do, what kind of trends do you see for direct mail marketing in the next year or so, 2 years?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you read everything out there, you know, there are some old friends that are coming back around, like hyper personalization, sustainability, you know, and then they're getting fancy with it. The guys that are talking about NFC and voice activated stuff that works, that has an NFC chip and talks to your Alexa, and you know, those things have been around for a while. And you know, the other big thing at the moment obviously is AI, and you know, everyone's on the AI bandwagon, I like to call it, and I don't think we really know yet quite what the impact of that's going to be in direct mail. But obviously the big thing is AI driven data targeting, and that's a process of, you know, having the AI review large data sets at scale in order to bring out specific insights that might speak to specific interest, behavior, or demographics, helping them to target more effective messaging to those leads compared to traditional targeting methods. So, I mean, that's an exciting area, but I think one of the trends that we're seeing a lot with our clients at the moment is something I'm calling right time marketing, which is to try and use data at scale to give us those signals of when a customer is ready to buy.
Okay.
And hit them with that message at the right time or at the right cadence in order to have them make a purchase. So I think this right time marketing thing is something that we're talking to a lot of clients about. And I think that's an exciting area of development in direct mail. But direct mail continues to evolve, you know, and I think those marketers that can combine their creativity with the technology and deliver effective messaging at the right time, they're the ones who are going to win. And obviously omni-channel is king. You know, you can't have all your bets on one horse. You've got to spread
Right.
those bets and, you know, incorporate those digital strategies and find out which ones are going to resonate with your audience specifically. So some testing and learning to do in those areas to figure out what the right secret sauce is for your particular target base. But, you know, as always, I'm excited about what's going on in direct mail, and, you know, what the advancement of technology is going to mean for us. I don't think we know quite yet, but I think we're starting to get some glimpses, and that's exciting.
Right. I think it's an evolution, and we've certainly seen that more probably in the last 5 or 6 years than in the previous 10 or 15 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's also where the attribution, like you say, comes in, because if you're able to track where you're getting your impressions and your responses as well,
Yeah.
it definitely gives you a lot more of the insight that you need in order to do these campaigns.
Yeah, and keep optimizing and doubling down on what's working, you know.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So one question I always ask people towards the end of a chat is, you know, what direct mail piece did you recently receive that really made you stop and pay attention, maybe look at it, open it up fully, read all the way through it, and, you know, what was it about that?
Yeah, so I'm going to show one of our pieces.
Okay.
I'm slightly biased. I think this is a really great piece. We have a client that is a social media platform, and for a lot of tech companies, you know, it's difficult to find formats that are going to clearly display product instructions. This is the thing, you know. And so for this social media client, this is a self mailer, and we actually call this a tabbed self mailer. So I'm going to open it up here. But this mailer is walking through the process of how to create an ad on the social media platform. So it gives you a step-by-step, and it includes these cool little tabs, so they're walking you through what the process is of doing it here. And this piece is great because it provides so much real estate, but it's small and compact, and someone can keep that on their desk and refer to it later, you know. So this is the sort of thing that I think is very hard to do in direct mail. So this is where the self mailers really win. But yeah, I love this. This is my favorite thing lately.
Yeah, I've seen a lot. Well, I mean, being at this for so many years, I've seen a lot of B2B mail, but that really, you know, concisely gives you the steps and lays them out. Lots of like white space around the images, so it really focuses your attention. Yeah, I like how that was done.
Yeah, and it creates that tactile nature, right? So, you know, we all know that the longer we can keep the person holding the piece in their hands, you know, the more likely they are to make a buying decision. So creating that tactile nature, and that's of course why the post office has had that tactile and the sensory discount for a few years now. They're changing it next year. I heard a rumor that they're gonna tack it together with doing something else in order to qualify for it. But you know, these are important things to know and stay up on, so that you can make the right recommendations to clients about the design of their pieces in order to maximize on those discounts, because they are definitely worth having. I was excited that the postage isn't going up in January too. And this had an effect in our business with our clients too, because normally they would rush to get their January campaigns out to have them be dropping before the postage increase in January, but they're a bit more relaxed this year because there's no increase in January. So that's exciting. You know, that's something that's changed this year.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, how can people connect with you and Snowball to find out more about all of your solutions?
Yeah, well, you can definitely check out our website. This is snowballpm.com. And there's a contact page on there for clients, vendors, or anyone who's just got general inquiries about what we're doing. You can email us at sales@snowballpm to get in touch with us and, you know, talk about my favorite topic, which is direct mail.
Awesome. I love it. Well, thank you again so much, Katrina Shaw, for being here with us today. And thank all of you out there as well for watching Meet the Mailers. Remember that you can leave any feedback or questions in the box below. If you tap the like button, and if you want to subscribe for our upcoming videos, just hit that button as well. If you want to be a guest here on Meet the Mailers, just click on Show More for my contact information. Thanks again for watching Meet the Mailers, and see you next time.